How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Talk. Cosplay Talk is basically a podcast series where we discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. Tonight, we are doing another segment on Get to Know That Cosplayer, and tonight's featured guest is Andrew Alandy. How are we doing tonight, Andrew?
Yeah, we're doing great. How are you feeling?
Despite aside from COVID, I'm doing pretty well. One thing I
Isn't
can't
that
wait. One thing I can't wait to be
ain't
over.
that the truth? I don't blame you one bit. Yeesh.
So, to begin, how long have you been cosplaying for?
Okay, so I actually started cosplaying back in 2005. I know it seems like so long ago, but people actually don't know this about me. But yeah, I started my first convention was Anime Expo 2005, and I cosplayed Squall Leonhardt there. I actually,
Oh, nice. From Final
yeah,
Fantasy VIII?
yes, that's correct. Final Fantasy, it's still one of my favorite games of all time. And a friend of mine had bought me as a gift. She had found a Squall Leonhardt jacket. Like somebody just tacked they tacked a fake fur lining on the collar and then was selling it on eBay. We won, and she won the eBay auction and was like, "Hey, happy birthday!" I was like,
Oh,
"Oh my God, like
nice.
I can't believe you did this for me." I was like, "This is insane. You're amazing." That friend of mine are still talk every now and then. Just it wasn't like a hey talk and whatever. Like we don't contact anymore. But I went as Squally and like I just hastily threw something together and it was the jacket was also like way too small for me. So I was kind of like fat guy in a little coat, just kind of tied it in there. But yeah. Those were grand times. I'll never forget that. And I think the other cosplay I did at that time was I was a big fan of Initial D, and still am to this very day. And because the Initial D clothes were pretty simple. I went one day as Ryosuke Takahashi, the leader of the Red Suns and later Project D. So that was a good time.
Is that the one where you're wearing the red coat and the white wig?
No. So actually, believe it or not, the red coat and white wig, that was the first year I did that. That's Archer from Fate Stay Night. I actually consider that to be my first true on like full on real cosplay, and that's one I did in 2006. I started that. A family friend who just loved making costumes for people. I actually asked her if she could craft that for me, and sure enough, she did that before Anime Expo 2006. And back then I had no idea about using wigs or anything, so I just used my real hair. And I'd cosplayed Archer for uh, a couple of years. Then kind of as the outfit started to not fit anymore, kind of put that away. And then like in 2018, like years after I first done Archer, I was like, I want to go back to this, but I want to do it right. So that's when I brought back Archer from Fate Stay Night, who is still one of my most favorite. Like I will say, he's my favorite anime character of all time,
Nice.
and I will never like. There's like more variations of Archer that I know I have to do down the road.
So you've been cosplaying since 2005. That'd be what, 16 years?
Something like that. I will say this. I was never fully I really there were years where I kind of would throw a cosplay on like Archer from Fate Stay Night or a Zoro from One Piece that a friend had made for me. uh
Nice.
it wasn't too crazy on the crafting side, but there were things that we could put together, and a lot of those cosplay years were dominated by my Tony Stark years, if you want to call it that. I had a, had a, I was notorious within the anime convention scene for dressing as Tony Stark, and it became a thing, especially in like the early 2010s, and especially like 2012. I think was like the first year I did it, and then it kind of became this running gag where I always was Tony Stark, and then next thing I know, things started showing like things started really popping for me as Tony Stark. So
Nice.
years I've really dove more into getting back into more elaborate stuff. Let's put it that way.
Right. So what was it like? You said you went to Anime Expo back in 2005. What was that con like back then? 'Cause that's like a long
Uh,
time ago.
So back in 2005, Anime Expo was in Anaheim back then, and it wasn't in Los Angeles. Um, I will say it was it was crowded. It wasn't as crowded as it's gotten in the past years. Um, there's it did feel a little more like a closer knit community, if you can say that about like the largest anime convention in North America, because I know that it's kind of gotten a little more mainstream as of late, and slightly more corporate, but there's still that feeling of whenever I go anywhere around Anime Expo, and this has never changed for me. Going around Anime Expo, and I could turn a corner, and there's bound to be somebody, either somebody I know or somebody I've connected to. That's never changed. As far as like the convention scene in 2005, because I really only went to Anime Expo in those early years. It yeah, there was always something to do around. The con back then was like a 24-hour con, like which is crazy when for someone you think about it,
Oh
because
wait,
there'd be like
it was like all
yeah.
day. It was an all day con.
So there used to be some form of programming going at every hour of the convention back
Jeez.
when you could do that. So you'd have people like the con center, like the Anaheim Convention Center was open 24 hours. Like I remember in 2006, my friends and I went. Our hotel was a mile away from or like a little less than a mile away from the convention center.
So
We're
about
still in
walking
Anaheim.
distance.
Yeah, so fair walking distance as long as you had comfortable shoes or you were willing to grit the pain of walking.
Oof,
But
I just can imagine how we're wearing a big hulking cosplay and just walking to the convention center like that.
oh, people will do it. People did that.
Oh,
Like I remember in 2006, we went to the usual. There's always a dance that happens. And the dance, we left at like 1:30 in the morning to just hang out with other people. And next thing you know, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, but the convention center's still open. And like there's like a random circle of friends just like tossing a beach ball around. Like, and we're dead tired. And next thing you know, we're in the circle like tossing a beach ball and just networking with people. And by networking, I mean just hanging out. But yeah, like it was interesting because now the con has a definite like close time. I know other conventions out there are trying to do like 24-hour content. Like there are a lot of people who will uh you know stay in their like anime rooms that just like constantly airing old series, current series. They get the rights to to show them in the rooms at a convention. And I remember back then, like there were people that would stay in those rooms all night, and just watch. And some use the rooms for a place maybe to stay overnight. I can't really comment on that per se, but that was con life back in the aughts. And for what I remember when I first came in. I will say this though, that's something I never did. Like I always tried to make sure I saved up for a hotel room or split the cost with a lot of good friends, or find my way to kind of support that.
nice, nice. So, what like decided to make you want to cosplay?
Okay, so I'm gonna freely admit this, and I don't want this to come off the wrong way for a lot of people. So, in 2005, um, I wanted to go, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, like I thought I was like kind of like hot stuff as a nerd, and I was like, oh, like yeah, I could go to this. And okay, I was a lonely nerd back then. I'm not gonna lie about that. So I was like, oh, like I could find my nerdy girlfriend there. Like it'll be awesome. Spoiler alert, like that didn't happen, obviously. But I was like, I want to cosplay as well because I was like, I really want to go as like Squally and Hard. Like, yeah, I got the coat. Like, I got this. Like, I'm gonna go in there. It's gonna be freaking awesome. And it was a wake up call that it's like, okay, the outfit, it's cool, but you know people that are doing that, and that's not the one thing that makes you cool per se. But I was like, oh, I'm still gonna cosplay as Squall Leonhardt and cosplay as Ryosuke Takahashi. Like these are the simple things that I have access to as like a 19-year-old, and I'm just gonna do it anyway. And I kind of just said, hey, why not? Like you never get to do this. And I saw friends who went the previous year. They're the reason why I dress up, because I saw one of them dress up as I saw a bunch of them dress up as characters from Trigun, and they
Oh,
had all their
that's another old anime.
right.
You.
And
It sounds like you definitely like to cosplay characters, and again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it seems like you like to cosplay characters from like like the '90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, like that was really all I had access to at the time, and I tended to gravitate away from all the majorly current stuff at that point. So like when I saw them dress up as Trigun characters, I was like, oh, like people do that too, and it inspired me to dress up in '05. And then during uh I was starting to catch up on more of the current anime around that time. I mean, I initially was still like airing, but then I had a group of friends in my college at that point that they started showing me more anime, and that's how I got introduced to Fate Stay Night. And when I saw Archer, uh I was immediately drawn to that character, and that inspired me to like, okay, that's a character I really want to cosplay as. Like that would be awesome. And so I found a friend who helped me make that outfit, and by help me I mean she actually crafted it for me, because I have literally zero crafting experience whatsoever. So, but I was happy to pay for it, and she was happy to make it for me. It was my friend's mom. Um, and from there, it was that was my story of really diving in the first part. Like it started off as, when I think about it, kind of toxic, because like I said, I thought it was hot. I thought it was gonna be like Mr. Nerd King back then. Obviously not, but it did give me a sense of, oh, like I actually like really enjoy dressing up. And I won't lie, like having people want to take your photos did feel like a nice little boost to the ego.
It kind of
And
made you have like that sense of fame, like a couple of minute
right,
fame, just because people recognize the character and they want, that
right.
picture.
Right. And the other thing, when actually cosplaying and actually started to meet like more fans of all the series that I was into. Like I met a good friend who's also named Andrew, and he's been cosplaying for quite a while. His designs were always really elaborate, even back then in '06. That's never wavered. And to this day we're still in contact. And it also helped that we were both part of the fighting game community as well. And so like what helped with cosplay was, it was like the gateway, the first stepping stone to finding out more about certain people. And I was able to find out more about more interests, more than just anime, but it built on that. And because of that, I started really feeling like cosplay is a really good way for me to meet other like-minded individuals. We have the same likes, we're doing the same thing, and there's bound to be more things that we're all into. Like this
Oh,
is
most
not
definitely.
just yeah, this is not the only thing that we're into. So it was really instrumental in finding the connectivity between myself and everybody I was meeting.
Now, through the past 16 years that you've been cosplaying, have you ever faced any challenges while cosplaying certain characters, or get any? Because and I know a lot of people when they cosplay characters, there's could be that the small group of people that's gonna give you hate or something. Have you ever had any challenges dealing with that?
Um, I've been fortunate that if there were any haters or naysayers, I usually just turned a blind eye, because I was focused on other things. But that being said, I think a lot of the issues that stemmed for me were uh, kind of being in that vein of, oh, I can only cosplay characters that look like me, and there was a comfort zone. I mean, I know I cosplayed Squall Leonhardt in '05, and that character, he's Squall has brown hair and is very like white, almost porcelain-esque skin. I myself, I'm a Filipino with like slightly darker skin, and my hair didn't match at all. Although I did grow it out to try to do the Scullion heart. That didn't work the way I wanted it to. But a lot of the if there weren't any issues that I had gone through, um, there were some times that people would come up to you and they wouldn't ask, oh, who's your character, or you might think they may be genuinely confused on, oh, is your character somebody else? But there was still a lot of trolling back then.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I think I
no.
remember there was one time, I think it was like 2000, Anime Los Angeles 2008, and I was dressed as Archer, um, and somebody came up to me and asked if I was Saul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear, and I was like, "No, I'm sorry, wrong character." I thought nothing of it, but thinking back upon like the tone that they used on it, it was kind of mocking in a sense, and I don't know if it was just they didn't know who it was, like they genuinely didn't know what character I was, uh, uh, or if it was just they were just trying to be a jerk. I'll never know. That was 13 years ago, and
Oh
that's been
jeez.
in the past. I'd say if there's any other issues I have faced, um, there's always that feeling of other cosplayers being a tad elitist to you,
Tad, what?
especially elitist.
What's that? What's
So,
that? I've never. I mean this. I've never heard that before. What is that? If you
oh,
don't mind sharing.
okay. So the best way I can explain it is like I'd say a popular group of cosplayers, and you know there have been times where you might go up to somebody who I guess may be well known for their outfit, and you may be wearing the same character per se, and instead of feeling maybe okay, appreciation for a character and keeping it simple as that, might be a little bit standoffish, or even worse, there might be judgments on, oh, like you didn't do your outfit right, or like this looks cheap. Like, yeah, thinking about it now, like that's really the one thing. And now I'm actually starting to get like a little incensed about this. Is in those early days of cosplay, you were kind of judged on the quality of your outfit, and thinking about it now, it's like it's a little unfair because, well,
Well,
one,
it's
a
it's
lot of
more it's more accepting nowadays. Whatever you're dependent on your skill level. It's people accept it more than they did back then.
oh, absolutely. So, there were a lot. I guess I did go through this a little bit, although I kind of tried to pay no attention to it. I actually kind of made a joke to myself that I was always the imperfect cosplayer because there was always something wrong with every cosplay I did. It was never actually quote unquote 100% accurate, if you want to call it that. But
Right.
one of the big problems that I remember facing was the concept of full blown accuracy with an outfit, or the materials you used were cheap materials. You didn't use the really good stuff. You just used cheap fabric, and that sort of thing led to a lot of elite cosplayers, if you want to call it that, where they felt like if you weren't using the right stuff, or if it didn't look 100% like you came out of the anime or the comic or the game, that you couldn't fit with us, or your cosplay just was no good. And I'm very thankful that the community's made many strides to get past
Oh
that,
yeah,
because
no,
for a while, yeah,
definitely.
yeah, it was a huge. It's still a problem to this
Oh
day,
yeah,
but
no.
it's
In
gotten much
modern
better.
terms, it's gatekeeping, and I've seen a lot of
Oh yeah.
gatekeeping towards mainly, especially on TikTok, a lot of people of color who cosplay, characters that aren't, their skin color, and I use that in quotations, and I'm sure you'll agree with this because I talked to Franchise about this when I interviewed her and everything, and I'm sure you'll agree that cosplay is for everyone.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that and Franchise and I are also very good friends, and we all agree here. Like like everybody said, cosplay is for everyone. It's a celebration of the art that we have grown to love and enjoy, and people have made this. They've equated it. It's likened to a sports fan putting on a jersey of their favorite player: Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Uh, for Tom Brady, for some, the list is endless. But what's the major difference here between doing something like that and then putting on the outfit of
Right.
a character? We're showing love and we're showing appreciation because it's something that touched our hearts. So, and it's something, it means something to us, and that's really where it is. It's all coming from. It all should come from a place of love.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. When it comes to people like putting on their sports jerseys for their favorite team, that's like for
Mhm.
us cosplayers. Us cosplayers, putting on our cosplays is like putting on a jersey in a sense.
Exactly. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I'm glad to hear that. We got about 9 minutes to go. Did you go to any cons before COVID hit back in
Uh,
2019?
the last con I hit every con I could in 2019. I did Anime Los Angeles. I did Anime Expo. There was a myriad list of different ones. I know I did Nerdbot Expo or
Nerdbot.
Nerd Expo. Yeah, Nerdbot, which is a company. They're in California. They've been producing a lot of fan created content. They do Nerd Expo, and that was in
Huh.
Pasadena, or and they were also behind Anime Pasadena as
Sounds like
well.
my
So
kind. Sounds like my kind of con.
oh, they are quite nice, and they're good friends. So went there. Um, the later part of the year, I didn't do as much. I know I did miss Comic Con because I went to a Street Fighter event in New York, which was the same weekend. Uh, and then I think the last con I went to was actually Anime Los Angeles 2020. After that, I haven't been anything since. I know we did Anime Expo Light, the online con, but I haven't done that Anime LA 2020.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping, when COVID is, fully lifted, that, a lot of
Mhm.
people are looking forward going back to cons and, bringing back their cosplays. Do you have any cosplays that you're going to be showing once people can go back to con and everything? We get the okay and everything?
I think the one I know, like I said, I had another variation of Archer from Fate Stay Night that was previously being worked on, and I'm hoping we get that done. Um, Jeremiah Gottwald from Code Geass, especially his R2 version, where he's in white and he's like half cyborg. That's one that I debuted at ALA 2020. I'd love to bring that back. As far as new ones, I think the one thing I really, really want right now. Well, there's two. One is Hanzo from Overwatch. I'm
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm a little late on doing that. People have asked me to do it. I know I need to do it. And the last one, which is a little closer, it's also easier because I shaved my head during the actually I shaved my head right before the pandemic actually hit, but it kind of made sense. Aang, adult Aang from Avatar is going to happen.
I think when I was interviewing your girlfriend Urahime, she was telling me about, and I actually looked it up, your Jeremiah Gottwald cosplay, and I
Mhm.
think she was telling me about your Aang. Your Jeremiah was really well done, and I'm looking forward to seeing your adult Aang from Legends of Korra.
Oh yes. It's the Jeremiah Gottwald. That was done with the help of our friend Angie Viper. I know she crafted both my Jeremiah and Utsuhime's Valletta, and uh, Adult Aang. I know it, work has started on it. It just remains as a matter of whenever things open up and we'll be able to do it. But like I said, we've got our system for the tattoos for me set up, and I'm trying to work on my own physical flexibility so that when people
No,
ask for a proper Aang pose, I can try to
right. I
replicate.
think that's the one thing some cosplayers and someone like myself who is a little bit, not as
Mm,
like heavy set, but kind of like in
mm.
the gut region who wants to bulk up a bit for certain cosplays, and I'm sure you understand what that's like trying to want to get fit for certain cosplays.
I totally understand that. Part of the reason why I've been working out so hard during the pandemic, I have my own set is, I want to test myself and see if I can replicate my cosplay and be a little more in character. And for me, that also means pushing myself to be the very best. Not saying that everybody has to do that per se, because it's not a requirement, but I think for me this is something I want to challenge myself with.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of cosplayers, especially the plus size cosplayers. A lot of people will give them heckle them and everything. And the way I see it, if you're wanting to cosplay a character, no matter what their height or weight looks like, you should cosplay them no matter what. If you're enjoying something that you like doing, you shouldn't let the haters get to you.
I agree with that. I know it's tough to not let the haters get to you. It is difficult at times, and it gets me every now and then too. But I agree with you. It's cosplay what you feel, cosplay what you love. As long as you're doing it with love and you're doing it in a respectful manner, no one can take that away from you. And I want and I hope that people will understand this as we move further in this community. That again, cosplay what you love and just be respectful about it. But no one should tell you that you're too fat to cosplay someone like Chun-Li, or you are too skinny to cosplay someone like Guts from Berserk. Do you like the character? Cosplay them because you love them.
Exactly. So we got about 3 minutes. Any
Yeah.
experience you'd like to share? Any like funny experiences you've done while going to conventions and stuff like that?
Never buy a pair of boots on site, not buy never buy a pair of boots day of con
Oh
and
no.
walk in them a mile to try to break them in.
Your feet will. Oh no. I've.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a story. It's a long story. But I'll tell it pretty quickly. I needed a pair of boots for Zoro, and uh, it was Anime Expo like 2013. Needed a pair of boots. I walked to the fashion district from the JW Marriott, bought a pair of boots because it was my birthday weekend. And then decided, instead of taking a taxi back because I was already tired, I was like, you know what? I'll just muscle it out. I'll walk in these boots and break them in. Um,
No.
for the listeners, it seems like common sense. I lacked common sense back then. Please don't make this mistake. Get your boots early if you can, and break them in early, and take care of your feet. Just trust me, your knees and everything else in the future will thank you for it. Please take care of your feet.
Oh, I think that's like a good like experience, and also like a thing worth sharing and all. We got about 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Any advice you would like to give for first time con goers or first time cosplayers who are on a budget and everything?
Okay. If you're on a budget, just make sure that you devote enough money to food and nourishment. And if I know people that do the ramen diet during conventions. You do what you can to keep yourself fed, but to be perfectly honest, um, proper nutrition is key. Always make sure that whatever money you budget for food, leave it as food. I know that there may be some merchandise that you really, really, really want, and you might think, oh, I can go without eating. Please don't go without eating. Your food budget is your food budget. There's also one other tip that I've learned. A lot of cons do offer things like a con suite, or where they do have snacks to keep the attendees fed. Try not to rely on that per se as your only source of food throughout the day, but do know that try to keep note if that's there. That will help you out. And usually, um, places like that they do operate on donation. So uh, if you can donate, please donate to them too, so that they can keep food going there for everybody. But try to make sure you take care of yourself and give yourself the best chance of enjoying all 4 days of con by staying as fueled as possible.
Most definitely. Again, Andrew, I want to thank you again for coming on here and being a featured guest for Cosplay Con Talk. And also, again, shout out to Udahime for recommending you.
Mhm. Well, I appreciate being here, and again, thanks for hearing me out, and to all the lovely people that are listening, you're all. So, again, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're most welcome. Again, everyone, thank you for listening. And until next time, thank you for watching.